Let's continue with tweening. We'll cover some effects tweening, including the alpha tweens, and also how to do some nested tweens as well. So I'm going to go ahead and start off drawing a simple shape out here, something like this. And I'll convert this to a symbol. Modify, convert to symbol. Circle. Okay. Now I've got a symbol. I'm going to set up a tween on this. I'm going to go ahead, first of all, hit Q, hold down the Shift key, scale that down, pretty small there. Go out to frame 10. Oops, 10, insert keyframe, scale it up. Oops, have to zoom in on it a little bit there. Scale that up. And I go here and right click, create classic tween. And there we go. Alright, that's pretty straightforward. Nothing new there. But what is going to be new is we're going to use what's called an alpha tween, which is a subcategory of effects. And the way we do that is we click on our sprite out here, our instance out on the stage, on the keyframe. Go over here to the Properties tab, click on it. Under Color Effect, choose Style, where it says None here. Click and hold that down and choose Alpha. And drop the alpha down to 0%. And sure enough, out here, this goes to transparent. And now, we should have a fade from 100% alpha to 0% alpha, which makes that disappear. Very nifty. If we want to get fancy, we could go in, click on the first frame here. And notice when I click on the frame down here in the timeline, it's selected out here, but it doesn't give us those alpha options up here. So you have to actually click on the instance of it out here on the stage, which is a little annoying, but just to, so you know that. Now the color effect shows up. Alpha. This is at 0%, so now it won't do anything. It'll just be invisible the whole time. But now I'm going to go here to the middle of this tween, or thereabouts. Go ahead, right click, and say Insert Keyframe. Click on it out here on the stage, or else it won't show up over here. Alpha, 100%. So now it's going to go from 0% alpha to 100% alpha here, and then fade down to 0% alpha as the tween continues. So now, if I play that back, get a nice clean kind of a fade in, fade out there. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do our first nesting here, because in order to do all this tweening business, we had to have that circle that's a symbol. Now the circle, if we go over here to our symbol library, double click on circle, it's just one frame. There's nothing fancy going on with circle. Go back out to the scene. What I want to do now, though, is I want to take this whole range of animation, and I'll do that by selecting all those, right-clicking on it, choosing Copy Frames, Insert New Symbol. I'm going to call this Circle Expand Solo. Movie clip. Okay. So we have a blank symbol with nothing in it. Go down here, right click, paste frames. So now it took that whole thing and pasted it into this new symbol called Circle Expand Solo. Go back out to scene 1. Create a new layer. delete the layer with the other animation on it because I don't need that anymore. Drop circle, expand solo out here. And just to prove our point, drop a whole bunch of these out here. Like that. Go ahead and hit Command Return to test our playback. And now we have several of these expanding symbols. And that's our first use of what's called a nested symbol. We have a symbol over here, circle, expand, solo, that contains the symbol circle within it. So we have a symbol nested within a symbol. So if I go back to circle, double click on it, change the color of that, go back to circle, expand, solo, play that to test it. Sure enough, it updates there. Or our scene, which has several instances of that out there. They're just invisible at the beginning, so you can't see them. Command Return to play them back. Sure enough, there they go, with the updated green color. Now, one other thing to point out with movie clips, and this is going to be important when we get into our interactive programs and start working with ActionScript. Watch this. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all the frames in this timeline except for the first one. So I select this whole range here, right click on it, remove frames. Now I just have a one frame animation in my scene, but I still have all of these invisible instances of circle, expand, solo out here. When I go to Command Return, the animation still plays back. And what we're establishing here is that a movie clip symbol has its own timeline. So our scene timeline only has one frame in it, but the circle, expand, solo timeline has 10 frames in it. That contains that whole tween animation. So what we've established is that if you have a symbol that's a movie clip, its timeline, the symbol's timeline, will play back independently of the main scene's timeline. So even though the scene only has one frame in it and circle, expand, solo has 10, just by putting it down here for one frame, all 10 frames will play back within that one frame. So it's kind of a strange thing there, but it's very important to understand just how that you can nest timelines and symbols within each other and what kind of effects you can get. Now in the next video we'll go into nesting one step further, in which we'll nest the circle, expand, solo, we'll nest several instances of that into a new symbol.